Hello there, Erin here. Welcome back to my channel. I have a double page scrapbook layout for you today. We are using the Halloween Memories collection from Stampin Up, and I am documenting some fun photos from 2021. So these are several years back of my boys and I and Desiree carving pumpkins. This is a tradition we enjoy doing every October season, and I'll tell you more about why that pumpkin's on fire, boys. So we are using a sketch. Now this idea book is no longer available, but I will walk you through what I'm doing today, so hopefully you can use supplies you have in your stash and the tips I'm giving you to recreate this layout if you don't have this sketchbook. It's from Close to My Heart, which is obviously no longer available. So you can see we have a grid style layout. These are 2x2 squares and then 4x4 squares on the opposite side with photos. So these photos are 3x3 and I did print them to coordinate with this sketch. I am going to switch it up just a little bit. So these are my photos for the right hand side and then my main focal photo for the left hand side. Plus I have more photos I'm going to be bringing in, and I'll show you how when we get to that point in the process. And no, it's not flip-flops, although that is a great way to bring in more photos. So again, these are 2x2 squares. I have already cut up a bunch of bits here and created a 2x2 squares from all of the different pattern papers. I know this looks like a pretty full paper pack still. I've already created 2 layouts with this, but I just strategically placed that so it looks like a lot of paper, but I do have bits and pieces. So I'm working with, scraps and, I didn't want to cut into these whole sheets because I have other ideas for them, but that's a scrap. And I don't have the other one of this, which is this pool party diagonal stripe on the other side. But I've been having so much fun with this collection. Let me grab my Versamats. This is a monthly series I participate in with several of my crafty friends, and it is such a great way to learn how to make a sketch work for you because we don't always have the exact papers or the exact photos that we need. So I highly encourage you to head on over to the other channels when you're done with my video and check out what they have to share, because they're going to share their own creative approach to this sketch, and you'll see a lot of different variations. They might be in the embellishing or the way they've added the photos, but like I said, it's a great way to learn how to manipulate those sketches so that you can use them for your own crafting. So I am adhering these with a removable glue dot. I've already done some of the work. I've got black cardstock for my background here and then white for my inner piece. So if you look at the sketch here, let me just kind of pull this out so we can keep bringing this in without bringing the book in. And I have had lots of questions about what I store these in. For those of you that already have it, this is a 6x8 photo album from Close to My Heart. So obviously that's not available either, but a lot of you have shared that Hobby Lobby has 6x8 photo albums that fit perfectly. The holes line up. So head to your local Hobby Lobby and maybe check that out if you have not found one for your book yet. So we've got all of our little scraps. Those are going to be for this side. And then I have cut my squares. These squares are 4x4. I'm missing one. Where'd it go? Here it is. Okay, so I am following the sketch pretty closely on this side. I've already done some of the, work behind the scenes here. And I figured out what pattern papers I want where, because that's probably the longest part of this when you have squares like this, or if you're using just small bits, is making sure they're balanced around the layout. So again, there's more of those squares there. Well, there are squares everywhere. So I am placing my photos. Again, these are 3x3. Actually, I want this one up here. And then Clayton about ready to carve into that pumpkin there. So I know I point this out all the time, but it does help me quickly place my photos. So Hayden and Desiree are looking into the layout. Clayton is looking this way. We're kind of angled in this way. And then we have one of the pumpkins straight on. So that just helps me figure out where I should place those so everybody's kind of looking into the layout. And then this is our main focal photo. It's a nice candid shot of everyone scooping pumpkin guts. Not my favorite part, but you got to do it, right? And do you save the pumpkin seeds? Some years I do, and take the time to roast those up. In other years I, just too busy and we skip it, but I always enjoy it when we do because, like I said, they're pretty tasty. So again, I just chose different patterns. Now I'm not using, let's see, where is it? The books. So we have the books and I decided to skip that and we're just using the orange side. And then there's another pattern paper in here with black and white on the back. This one, and I'm skipping that. So we're just using the green side. So again, this is just a matter of placing your little bits and making sure that the color is distributed throughout the layout. And if you do have a pattern with it like an angle on it, I recommend you make sure those are angled in the same direction. Like this one, for example. You wouldn't want up and down and then sideways. You could, it's your layout, definitely do what you want, but I've chosen the up and down on this particular one, so I'm going to carry that over and have all of these also go up and down in direction rather than horizontal. You can see how this layout is perfect for scraps when you have used up most of your paper collection. You have just these bits and pieces, but you don't want to throw them away. This is definitely a go-to solution for those little leftover bits. This part reminds me of assembling a puzzle. Just spread out all of the puzzle pieces so you can see what you're working with, and then you can move them around to fit into place, balancing that color. So you can kind of, I don't want things directly across from each other, so I'm staggering them so it's drawing your eye around the layout. So I loosely have these set and I think I'm happy we've got the color kind of distributed around. I need one more piece here, but to bring in more photos, I have a bunch of the pumpkins, not a bunch, but a few of the pumpkin shots, and I need to trim. I printed them with white borders and then decided I didn't want that because we're going to mat them on the paper. So I trimmed off the white borders here. So I still need to do that one. What you can do, so this is just, the lights are real dark and you can see all the pumpkins lit up. So I want this to have a little bit of white around the edge. So you can sand the finish off of a photo and with a nail file, and this is bringing in a little bit of that white border because there's no way to ink up the edges on a photo, right? It's already taken up all the ink it's going to take from the printer, and anything you applied would just wipe right off. So sanding it, you're going to remove that ink and reveal that white paper underneath, and you'll see it just really kind of helps these to pop a little bit more and define them against that background. So definitely a little tip, but it makes a big difference. So I think I want to put these photos around the border here. Maybe we'll put this one here, and then actually let's put this little guy here. We'll still cut that down and put some pattern paper behind him. So you'll notice on the sketch they have a whole row of squares here filling in that entire space, or you could flip it and do it this way. They always show you two different versions of the sketch, so you have a landscape photo and a portrait photo and how they place a title either way. And I am going to leave those off because I'm going to use that spot for my journaling. So I do want to add a little bit of color behind this. So I cut a black mat to help this stand out. So now before I adhere everything down, I am going to take the time to ink up all of these bits and pieces. So I have just a little ink cube here because it's been handy. So I've been using this to ink up my papers, and I will do a couple here with you, but I'm going to ink up every one of those little squares, and I know it's a lot, but it will be worth it. It really makes a big difference in the end. So be careful when these, you don't want to just lay it down because it will put marks on your white paper. So just give that a little bit to dry before setting it down on your background. unless you're going to tape it right into place right away. I won't make you watch the entire process. We'll do a little bit here together, and I'll ink up the rest of the squares off camera. So why do the pumpkins have flames shooting from their cute little carved faces? If you have young, impressionable ears in the room, this might not be suitable for all audiences. I don't want to give them ideas. But, you know, teenagers, they somehow got the idea, I'm not sure where it came from, to light the pumpkins on fire. And I thought, you know what? Why not? Sounds like fun. Better to do this in a controlled environment with parental supervision than with their buddies off, you know, wherever. So they're very into survival stuff. And somewhere along the way, they learned that you can use your deodorant to start a fire in an emergency situation. So they put deodorant shavings in the pumpkin and then used a little spray of hairspray to get this effect. And they loved it. It was very entertaining, and they still talk about it. It's been years, and it definitely left an impression. As a boy mom, you find yourself involved in shenanigans that you never imagined yourself doing. I'm tacking down these little squares here. I'm starting with the two outer corners, and then we will adhere the one in the center, and then we can split the difference with the two on either side of it. This will give you nice even margins. I'm not measuring anything. I'm just eyeballing it, but doing it this way definitely helps you to get that evenly distributed across. We are just about ready for the fun embellishing process. I went ahead and pulled several stickers from the coordinating sticker sheet that I thought would go. We've got the black bat, a spider web, and a title. This title says Halloween, and then I have the word memories. So I was thinking maybe something like this, or we could perhaps layer this up top. Let's scoot this down just a bit, and we'll layer that over the paper, and then maybe, oops, this over the photo a bit. I did partially remove the adhesive from the back of these so they would be repositionable. And then we have this cute little corner cobweb and the bat. Now the bat needs to be, actually that works pretty well. We want it to stand out, so I don't want it on the black cardstock on the right hand side. And then we also have this here. If you look at the sketch, they have some banners hanging out the bottom corner, but that's actually a bit too big. But it does fit up here, so we could place that up top here. I want this little spider web kind of framing in one of the corners, maybe right here. So I went through my Halloween stamp collection. This one's fabulous, and there's a pumpkin here, and there's all these different faces. Ooh, I've got some little skeleton bits in here. No, not quite right. Let's put him back in the envelope. So I want to create several of these stamped little pumpkins. I grabbed a piece of pumpkin colored cardstock here, and then what you have is the base, and then you can change up. There's 3 different little pumpkin faces, and I thought this would be perfect. So there's the little top of the pumpkin. I'm stamping this in black, and you could also stamp it on white cardstock and color it in with your markers, but this is a very quick way to create embellishments if you're not really feeling like coloring. So let's ink that up one more time, and then I can go ahead and put this away. I'm going to create several, but I'll just do one here on camera with you. And let's see, there's kind of a little happy face. Well, they're all actually happy little faces. Let's go with this one though that's smiling. And we will ink that up in black. I do have the coordinating dies for these, and I'm going to show you a little tip that I haven't done in a while, and those little skeletons just reminded me. So all you need for this tip is a black marker, but let me go ahead and get that die cut out really quick. So I went down to put down a surface that I can color on, and you'll notice the orange edge around the outside of that stamping, right? Because we've stamped it on cardstock and die cut it, so you have a little bit of a margin. If you take a black pen and color in the outside area, basically that margin like it was stamped on black cardstock, it really makes these little images stand out. I'll hold up one that is done and one that's not done so you can see the difference side by side. So I'm going to do the little top of the pumpkin here. It's so funny, you learn these techniques, then you kind of forget about them, then you rediscover them, and you're like, oh yeah, that looks really good. So I've got one not done, one I did off camera already. And here, let me actually put this on, and then I'll hold them up so you can see the difference. See how the black border just kind of makes that pop and look more dimensional? We can go ahead and scoot aside my all-purpose mat. I'm done with that. And we'll bring this back into frame, and then we can find a spot for these cute little stamped embellishments here. And I know I want a couple on this side, maybe right here. I think they'll really stand out against that green cardstock. And then this one, we definitely want over here. Maybe I do want something in the middle, but that's not quite right. This is one of my favorites because of the spider web. It's called Irresistible, and I cut this out thinking maybe we could add this somewhere else on the layout. I love the one little spider web in the corner, so I thought it'd be fun to add more of those. Maybe over here. I am definitely embellishing a lot more than this sketch, but that is my style. So if at any point you might feel that you want to stop embellishing, sometimes less is more. I'm measuring this for my journaling. I'm going to go ahead and print that out onto Avery clear sticker paper, and then we'll line that up with my photo, and then just make sure it's straight. Once you're happy with it, you can burnish that into the background and it virtually disappears. This sticker paper is so handy. I love adding my journaling with this method. I want something in this center here, kind of tying everything together. And originally I was thinking of putting a circle with the journaling, but then I ended up moving the journaling here. So I was looking at these two stamp sets. This one, Potions and Spells. I've been having so much fun with this. I actually used the cauldron on the first two layouts, and it would be cute. It would definitely fit there. But I don't know, I've been using this a lot, so maybe we want something a little bit different. Let me show you this card I created while we're at it. This has the cauldron, which I stamped and colored. The bird and the books are all stamped and colored, and the little broom is the die cut, and then I've stamped the bubbles and a little hocus pocus on the background. I actually created this inspired by a class Jema taught in our 31 Days of Christmas cards using photo paper, and I just used those techniques she taught and created a background for a Halloween card, and I thought it was really unique. It was super fun to do, and I love how that looks. So anyway, I digress. I just wanted to show you that because it was really fun to make. But we could maybe put some of these are great titles or subtitles. So we have Halloween Memories. Maybe we could put Spooky Fun right here. That might fit. I also have this shape left over because I used this on the last layout, and that is from the Nested Essentials. On the last layout, I use these to kind of create a little coffin. So let's see if the Spooky Fun fits. It does. So to get that to stand out, we would have to heat emboss that. So let's do it. I think it's going to look cute. White heat embossing on black cardstock always looks so good. I am going to use my stamp positioner just to ink this up several times to make sure I get good coverage. Rub it down with my anti-static powder tool, and then we can go ahead and line our stamp up in this shape. Normally I would stamp first and die cut second, but since I already have this shape, I might as well use it. So let's pick that up with the Misty Door. Now you can use Versamark ink for embossing, or you can use pigment inks because they have a paint-like property and they stay wet long enough for you to emboss. I like to use white pigment ink when I'm embossing with white powder. I think you get just a bit more of a vibrant finish with the white ink layered underneath. So like I said, I'm inking this up a couple times just to make sure I have a really good stamp impression. I'm going to lay this in my coffee filter and then cover it with some white embossing powder. We can go ahead and just tap off the excess here, and quite a bit is sticking even though I used my anti-static powder tool. So if that happens, just give it a good flick from the back, and then you can use a paintbrush to brush away any loose bits of powder and just kind of clean up those edges. I recommend letting your heat tool heat up for just a bit, and then I like to move back and forth, front to back, and it prevents the paper or helps the paper from warping when you move front to back like this. And I'm holding it with tweezers so I don't burn my fingers because that's a small piece. That looks pretty good. So let's see how this looks on the layout. I ended up moving my spider web to this corner, and there was some spider stickers on the sticker sheet, so I placed some of those in the different webs. And then I had left the top off of this pumpkin here. I stamped it separately because you can tuck the kitty or the skeleton. It's designed to go in the pumpkin. But then I started thinking while I was looking at this, flames might be fun. So I went to my food category of stamps because I knew I had some barbecue flames, but that might be too small. Let's actually try this out and see how it looks. So that would work. We could do that. I kind of wanted something a little bigger. I think I have some fire pit stamps in my outdoor adventure bins. Let me look through there. I actually found a couple. So there's some flames here, and then this one here, I could just maybe cut that off. So that one is kind of like the barbecue. It's too small, smaller than I wanted. So let's try this one. If we kind of position it there, ooh, that fills that space nicely. Yeah, let's do this one. I stamped that in intense black ink and then grabbed my pumpkin pie Stampin' Blend markers. So I'm going to use the bullet tip because there's some tiny little spaces here, and I'm coloring this in all over with the light pumpkin pie. Then we'll switch to the darker pumpkin pie and add a few little shading accents. So I'm just seeing how far down I need to color. There's no sense in coloring the bottom of that because I'm going to chop it off anyway. I love being able to use my stamp collection in unexpected or non-conventional ways like this, and that's why I kind of organize by category. I also have these in Evernote, so you can just search fire and all of the images come up. I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut that off camera. And then we can position our little flame here and see how it looks on the layout. Oh, that's cool. That looks really cool. I'm super happy with that. I removed the Versamats because the black on black was a little bit difficult to see. And then I forgot to mention this white piece is 9 3/4 and this white background piece is 11 inches squared. So 11, 9 3/4. And I brought in this sticker sheet has a whole bunch of these really cute word strip stickers. So I added Beware. We've got Creepin' It Real, Terrifyingly Good Times, and Spooky Season. And then I added a bunch of purple and green dots. Those are the transparent adhesive back dots. I got this with the 2 Market Garden collection, but they're perfect little Halloween colors and go beautifully with this layout. So I just added a few of those to the different embellishment clusters there. Let's bring the sketch back in. My original thought was to add 2 larger photos and fill this space a bit more, but then when I looked at my photos, I got the idea to add the additional pictures in these 2x2 squares, and I really like how that turned out. It's kind of fun too because this paper has the black and the photo draws that around. And then I wanted a bit more purple. So you can see the purple here, 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 and here. So I wanted it somewhere on the right-hand side of the layout. And that is just one of these border stickers. I trimmed off a piece and topped the little banner with that, just to, again, bring that purple over to the other side. So the second right-hand side, I did create very closely. You can see that's why I had the idea to put something in the center. I was originally thinking my journaling on a circle, but this is super cute. Love that. And then I did add a bit more embellishing top and bottom and a lot more embellishing on this paper and then less of the squares across the center. I will have still shots of this layout over on Pinterest, Instagram, or Facebook, so you can check those there if you want more of the close-up detail. And I just love the way that turned out with the white heat embossing and the cute little spiders down there. There's our little flaming pumpkins, boys. If you enjoyed this video, I'd be very grateful if you'd hit that thumbs up button. And if you're looking for more Halloween inspiration and scrapbooking fun, watch these videos right here. Happy crafting, everyone, and I'll see you soon here on YouTube.